Hey, what up, YouTubers? It's your boy, the Visionary. Welcome to another episode of Fireside Chats. Today's episode is titled U.S. Foreign Policy Failures and the Rise of Campaign Rhetoric. I basically came up with that title more or less as I read New York Times, the Post, and the Daily News, and CNN, C-SPAN, CFR, and BBC and all these other data streams, and I'm starting to notice the current administration's revival of campaign rhetoric. In addressing certain issues that they basically let fall to the wayside because honestly they weren't really important. They weren't part of the general agenda as far as getting things done is concerned. You know what I mean? The real meat and potatoes, the real function and purpose of this administration was basically just to continue the fundamental objectives of the Bush administration. That was basically to continue the wars in the Middle East, to gain control of the Eurasian continent, to basically topple a few governments here and there, which have been on a list that we've been planning to do all along. You know what I mean? So that's basically what Obama's main or primary objective as president was in his term in office. That's the reason why he got elected. On top of the fact that all of the aspects of the United States that they want to clamp down and start to change. As far as cultural shifts are concerned, getting rid of the Constitution or breaking it down, passing amendments, or you know what I'm saying, or bucking up the economy, which is another major issue that needs to be dealt with. But as you look with what's going on right now, as far as the new campaign rhetoric that's popping up, you're starting to see a very interesting gradual shift or change in what's going on in the Middle East. You're starting to see now that our actions and what we have been doing in the Middle East has starting to get a bit of a pushback. If you look at what's going on in Egypt, there's sort of a bit of a pushback in Egypt and what's going on there. Again, Mubarak has been pretty much a coup d'état that's been supported by the people because of what happened with I forgot the other name. Whose name Mubarak, the older Egyptian president. He gets kicked out. Then they put Morsi in, and then Morsi, by the will of the people, along with the backing of the military, he gets forced out. And he himself was a U.S. President who was also backed with the Muslim Brotherhood. So he gets kicked out. So the military, which is the interim government, is holding shit down. And they're basically like, yo, fuck the West, even though they're still getting paid by the West. And then as this is happening, you have this new interim government, which is basically the Muslim Brotherhood, stepping in and they're starting to take control of shit. And there's a new guy that they elected as president. He's like a military dude that's basically saying, yo, fuck the West, get the fuck out of here, we don't want you here, yada yada yada. So now you're starting to see a slow progressive movement where they're starting to kick the West out. If you go to Syria, a lot of people are not talking about this, but a lot of what's going on in terms of the rebel resistors, which are basically pro, or I would say anti or pro Morsi, Assad, who are basically anti-Assad, who are either Al-Qaeda or Taliban affiliated, the ones who are making up the massive who are making up the bulk of the rebel army in and of itself that's going against the pro-Assad regime itself. What's happening, what they have been talking about, they've been going around massacring people. They've been attacking random people and killing them, like, for no reason. So what's going on is that because of the fact that the U.S. and other countries have been aiding the rebels, what you have is Iran along with Russia giving aid and support to the Assad regime. And as we all know, it's an actual standing army, and Assad owns and controls most of the armed forces there. So with the help of Russia to stop the turning of the tide in regards to what the U.S. is doing in terms of trying to push the regime change, these groups that are killing people, aka death squads, that's what they're being called on the alternative circuit, they're being pushed back. They're really being beaten and they're getting killed. Because if you ever get a chance to look at some of the reports over the past few months, before the whole shift started to happen, where all of a sudden it started to become quiet. Now it's not in the news anymore, and you start to read the reports where the guys are like, yo, we're getting creamed out here, we need your support, help us out, yada yada yada. Because they were getting massacred, they were getting beat back by the pro-Assad regime. Because he's like, no, fuck this shit. I'm not getting pushed. I'm not getting pushed out. I'm not getting taken out. Fuck that. Leave my country alone. Period. So that's another front where the West is getting pushed out, due to, I guess you can call it, external influences and so on and so forth. And what else is there? I think there's issues in Libya where, well, recently there was an event where most of the CIA black sites, the ones where the rendition black sites, where they're taking Al Qaeda or Taliban terror suspects there and they're abusing them and keeping them prisoner without any due process. There are a number of recent jailbreaks. Now, I don't know if this is a false flag where the government is breaking them out to, propagate the whole boogeyman scenario, or whether or not Al Qaeda or Taliban really are breaking these people out to stage some type of attack. But because of the breakouts, supposedly there's chatter, surprisingly, there's chatter on the CIA servers that, there's going to be a major Muslim Brotherhood / Al Qaeda Taliban initiative where they're just going to start attacking Western allies in order to get them the fuck out of the Middle East. And I'm looking at this situation like this is like kind of funny because I don't know why they keep using the same channels to communicate what the fuck they're going to do. And number two, where they're getting the resources to actually mount a full-scale military operation to break out their people from these places. I mean, this is the United States government, backed by other Western powers. So how are they able to, stage all these multiple attacks and breaking their people out of the jails? I don't know. It just all seems kind of funny to me. So now, because of the jailbreaks and the actual terror threat that was issued supposedly through the chatter, there have been a number of interagency memos where, like, I think 50 to 60 something embassies all over the world have just said, you know what, we're going to close down, we're going to shut down, like, we're leaving, period, because this is getting too dangerous, we don't know what the fuck is going to happen, and poof, we're gone. Me personally, I don't know if there's a real terror threat by a real organization, whether or not it's Al Qaeda, Taliban, or Muslim Brotherhood, or if it's a false flag. I honestly think it's a false flag because it's just too convenient that, that given the actual environment inside the country domestically, where people are like anti-government and the economy's going down and it's tanking and there's a lot of fucking issues and all the corruption and all of the scandals that have been popping off. I don't know if this is just another feint where they're just going to be like, no, there's no terrorist attack, and they're going to do something, and we need to, like, clamp down inside domestically and protect the country and blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at this like, it feels like something funny, and I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Because I got a chance to go to the DHS website, Department of Homeland Security, and usually when there is an actual terror threat, you see the terror threat alert, and you can see where it says, oh, we're going to issue a terror threat where it goes up or down and blah blah, and you see the terror alert change. And if you go on the site now, there hasn't been any change at all. There's nothing. They're just saying all that bullshit out of nowhere. Like, I really don't know. I wish I had access to the actual supposed chatter, that information where they discern the chatter of there being a fucking terrorist attack. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So now that you see all of that happening in overseas, and you come domestically, you start to see the revitalization of the campaign Reddit, where Obama's like originally was like a few weeks ago, he was talking about the importance and threat of global warming and how we need to address it and what we can do to fight it and stop it and blah blah blah. And then you hear about the the green jobs movement, what we need to do, and then he's jumping back on the healthcare issue. And by the way, Congress and Senate, they're really trying to kill that shit. Like, I really think they're gonna try to kill that shit, because there's so many things that are stipulations that are connected to the Obamacare healthcare bill that there's a lot of stuff hidden in it. Like, I got a chance to look at snippets here and there when I get a chance, so I'm gonna do a more thorough review. But I advise everyone to, when they get the chance, get their hands on that bill and look and see what the fuck is going on, because a lot of things are funny about that bill that a lot of people don't know about. But yeah, they're trying to kill that shit left and right. And there's this new initiative, like you have the John Kerry, who, like, I don't know, I don't get this. There's this big pomp and circumstance celebration where he's going to the Middle East to talk to Israel and Palestine, initiate peace talks, and it's all over the news, and you show pictures of him, the money shot where he has the Palestinian and Israeli leaders shaking hands, and he's like, oh, you know what, this could be a new beginning to a peace talk, and I'm going to, we're going to try to get this shit on the road, and we'll hopefully in the next 9 months, we'll be able to hammer out some type of, two-state solution, yada yada, a solution that they've been talking about for years, but they never been able to settle on because Israel has been basically a bunch of assholes kicking the people off the agreed upon land that the Palestinians were supposed to be on. Period. So you have this whole pumping circumstance, dog and pony show where Kerry's going down there. They're taking pictures. And they put it in the mainstream spotlight, of him getting the money shots, and it's like, it's full of shit because they've done this multiple times and nothing's happened. Now all of a sudden they decide to actually do a trip to Israel and Palestine to hammer out a two-piece, two-state solution deal on that crap. That's bullshit. Why didn't Obama do that shit during his 2012 election when he won again? Why didn't he do that? You know what happened? Right before that shit, he had a deal with Israel. They were sitting at the table. It's like, yo, because Israel's elections are pretty much right after ours, what happens? There was a fucking ceasefire. The Israelis broke the ceasefire. They were the ones who basically violated the actual agreement between the Israelis and the Palestinians in ordering a ceasefire until the elections were over. As soon as Obama won the elections, they broke the ceasefire and started killing people, like for no fucking reason. And that's why Palestinians started shooting missiles over at them, blah, blah, blah. You know what the fuck happened? There was a big, massive outrage by the UN. Again, a bunch of pussy-ass motherfuckers that have no actual authority or power whatsoever, because they don't control the UN army. So they made a big fucking fuss about it, which I can commend them. Like, okay, at least they said something. But what happens? The U.S. didn't send anybody over there. The motherfuckers was like, oh, Israel has a right to protect themselves. Motherfuckers, these niggas were shooting up motherfucking kids and women for no fucking reason, because they were at the gate, where the corner off, where what separates Gaza from the actual settlements and shit. Fuck out of here with that dumb shit. Did you send anyone over there? No. You know what happened? Obama went to India to issue to basically usher in a non-proliferation treaty, basically a non-nuclear weapons proliferation treaty with India, because India is a nuclear power, and basically they're like, yo, we want to step down, we want to disarm ourselves, and blah blah blah, and that's strategically very important to the United States. I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, so when the actual real issues were popping off and shit was going down and motherfuckers get shot up and Israel was to blame for it, he didn't send anyone over there. All you had was the United States propaganda going, oh, Israel has a right to protect themselves, and oh, blah blah blah, we get the issue, but yeah, Israel has a right to protect themselves, they have a right to be a state and blah blah. Fuck out of here with that dumb shit. Get out of here. I bet you after the 9 months are up, which is the actual amount of time that they set aside for Israel and Palestine to come to a peace agreement, I bet you they're going to be right at it again, because it's best that it's part of the fucking plan. Look, if they really wanted fucking peace down there, they would have had it years ago. Period. It's been, what, going on 50, 60 some fucking odd years since these two fucking people have been fighting each other? Come on, yo. Get the fuck out of here. But I bet you right after the 9 months, the motherfuckers are still going to be going at it, period. And that's it. That's it. Until someone drops a bomb on both Israel and Palestine and ends the shit. Period. You know what I mean? Fucking bullshit. Alright, that's it for now. Thank you for watching the video. Take care and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.